Linda's 50th birthday gift arrived in a dented Amazon box, no note, just a butterscotch-scented leather notebook. Write your next chapter, fam, read gold foil letters. She scoffed. Toronto's autumn chill seeped through her condo window, same as quiet since her youngest left for college. But that night, scrolling past community center ads, she stumbled on a virtual journaling circle, empty nests, full hearts. Ink met paper. Words spilled like maple syrup, slow, sweet, unstoppable. By dawn, her Linda's 50th birthday gift arrived in a dented box, but its contents, buttery leather notebook, edges worn like her favorite winter boots, felt like an inside joke from Universe. Here, write your way out of this funk. Her youngest had left for university 2 months prior, and their echoey Scarborough bungalow now amplified every creak. That notebook sat untouched for weeks, judging her from coffee table like a well-meaning auntie. One rainy Tuesday, she hauled it to a community center knitting circle, accidentally, she told herself, though her fingers missed yarn's rhythm. Between pearls, she caught a flyer, virtual journaling circle, no experience, just heart. Linda scoffed. Online fam. But that night, clutching chamomile tea gone cold, she logged on. Screen names blinked to life, Maple Leaf 54, Grace Under Fire, strangers with voices like worn-in sweaters. They shared fragments, grocery lists that morphed into elegies for packed lunches, doodles of dogs who'd never again trip over backpacks. Linda's first entry was a hesitant scrawl, "Today I burned toast. Again. House smells like my failures." Group's laughter crackled through her laptop. Classic empty nester move, someone teased. Her journal became a time machine. That leather cover, same shade as her dad's old work satchel, held grocery receipts transformed into love letters to solitude. She documented Toronto's quirks, how CN Tower winked her during dawn jogs, how her local Tim Hortons crew now nudged extra Timbits her way, for my favorite lonely bird. Fear had been a silent tenant in her ribs, a snowdrift threatening to bury her under what nows. But ink melted it. One clumsy step. Linda's 50th birthday gift arrived in a dented package, its battered corners hinting adventure. Inside, buttery leather notebooks smelled like possibility. First entry. A grocery list. Second. A doodle of her cat wearing sunglasses. Third. 3 pages of raw, rambling grief over her youngest leaving for university. Words spilled like overturned ink, messy and necessary. Toronto's autumn chill nudged her toward a community center flyer, virtual journaling circle, write your next chapter. She clicked join before courage fled. Screen flickered to life, revealing a mosaic of faces, a grandma in Honolulu, a teacher in Dublin, a retired trucker in Texas. Their shared silence felt kinder than pity. Facilitator, a woman with magenta streaks in her hair, grinned. Welcome, fam. No rules here, just truth. Linda's early attempts were stiff, sentences marching like obedient schoolchildren. But leather notebook became her confidant, its pages absorbing midnight rants about silent hallways and mismatched socks left unpaired. One evening, she described her neighbor's flamingo pink porch gnome. Group howled. That's your voice, said Dublin teacher. Linda blinked. She'd forgotten joy could sound like laughter between strangers. Mornings now began with scribbled observations, barista's cherry print apron, how maple leaves clung to windshields like stubborn memories. Notebook's spine softened with use, edges frayed from being stuffed into purses and bicycle baskets. She carried it to High Park, jotting down snippets of overheard conversations, imagining lives behind words. Then came prompt, write a letter to your younger self. Linda's pen hovered. 50 years of should-haves and almosts pressed against her ribs. But what flowed wasn't regret, it was a thank you note to girl who'd survived heartbreaks, who'd raised humans with knees perpetually scraped. She read it aloud to Circle, voice wobbling like a rookie tightrope walker. Screen pixels couldn't hide their tears. By winter, notebook held more than words. Pressed leaves from her first solo hike. A recipe from magenta-haired facilitator, guaranteed to cure loneliness, add cayenne. And a list, not groceries but dreams, learn pottery. Replant rose bush. Send postcards to strangers. Empty nest still echoed, but now it hummed with potential, a duet between loss and what came next. Linda bought a second leather notebook, this one emerald green. For stories she hadn't lived yet. Linda's 50th birthday gift arrived in a dented box, but that scuffed leather notebook inside. Solid. Like her, a little worn but far from done. Toronto's autumn chill seeped through her kitchen window as she thumbed its pages, blank as her empty house now that both kids had bolted for college. She scoffed irony, 50 years in, handed a book with nothing written. Might as well mirror her mood. First entry was a grocery list. Second, a rant about squirrels pillaging her begonias. Progress. But when her pen hovered over a third attempt, doubt crept in. Who cared about her grocery dramas? Then an email popped up, some virtual journaling circle, courtesy of her community center's newsletter. Join fam of midnight scribblers, it teased. Woman snorted. Midnight? She was in bed by 9. Still, she signed up, if only to prove she wasn't fossilizing yet. Turns out, typing 11 p.m. with strangers in Tokyo, and Tulsa beat staring her silent walls. One woman shared haikus about menopause. Another chronicled her cat's vendetta against curtains. Linda's own entries grew bolder, raw snippets about missing soccer game chaos, then sly confessions like maybe I don't miss laundry piles. That notebook became her sparring partner, absorbing jabs self-pity and uppercuts of gratitude. One evening, she wrote about teaching her daughter to ride a bike in High Park, how she'd let go without realizing it. Metaphor wasn't lost on her. Creator smirked, adding a postscript, note to self, kids aren't bikes. Letting go's point. By winter, her journal bulged with ticket stubs, pressed maple leaves, and half-baked epiphanies. She'd started reading entries aloud to her virtual circle, her voice steadier each time. No grand finale, just a woman who'd turned empty pages into proof she still had stories left. That leather notebook. Now it bore scuffs of its own, coffee rings, a dent from being shoved into her bag during a snowstorm. Linda ran a finger over its spine. Battle scars. Just like hers. Linda's 50th birthday gift arrived in a dented box, but inside lay something flawless, buttery leather notebook, its pages crisp as autumn leaves. She'd scoffed first. Journaling? Like some teens scribbling crushes. But with kids gone, one backpacking through Laos, another buried in med school, silence in her Toronto condo had grown louder than rush hour on Yonge Street. So she cracked it open. First entries were messy. Missed Kyle's dumb laundry piles. Sarah's laugh echoing down hall. But then, words began to untangle knots in her chest. She wrote about salsa classes where she stepped on toes, about that time she burned garlic bread so bad fire alarm serenaded her entire floor. Laughing her own tiny goofs, she realized grief wasn't a monolith, it had cracks where light got in. Then came gutsy move. Woman posted a photo of her notebook on a local mom's forum, captioning it, "Empty nest, full heart. Who's scribbling their way through this madness?" Replies flooded in, women her age, older, younger, all clutching their own stories like lifelines. Someone suggested a virtual meetup. Next thing she knew, Creator was hosting Sip and Script, a Zoom circle where women shared journal snippets over chamomile tea. Even Marjorie, her skeptic neighbor who once called journaling navel-gazing for bored folks, showed up, then stayed mute for weeks until one night, she read aloud about losing her husband. Crowd erupted in snaps. Marjorie's eyes glistened. Damn, Creator thought. This thing works. Community center caught wind. They asked her to lead a workshop. Standing before 50 strangers, Creator clutched that leather notebook like a talisman. She didn't spout fancy theories, just told them how scribbling grocery lists next to grief made both feel lighter. When she confessed she still wrote letters to her kids, then hid them under her mattress like a lovesick teen, crowd roared. Someone filmed it. Clip went viral, 50-year-old Canadian mom schools us on healing with a pen. Back home, Linda flopped onto her couch, grinning. Notebook sat beside her, spine creased, corners frayed. She traced its cover, realizing, I found my voice. And fam. Turns out, world needed to hear it. Linda's 50th birthday gift arrived in a dented box, but that scuffed leather notebook inside. Pure gold. First, scribbling felt like whispering into a void, until she stumbled upon a virtual journaling circle, a ragtag fam of strangers stitching their stories together across screens. Toronto's winter gray couldn't touch her now. She'd turned her sunroom into a creativity command center, mismatched mugs and all. Odd habit. She sniffed pages like a detective hunting joy. Ink stains became badges of honor. That notebook, once stiff, now flopped open with ease, its spine cracked from late-night rambles and sunrise epiphanies. Soon, Linda wasn't just filling pages, she was guiding others, hosting hybrid workshops, community centers where retirees and millennials bonded over bullet points and belly laughs. Turns out, existential dread pairs well with artisanal scones. By 53, her movement had sprouted legs, with local libraries stocking her prompts. Even her daughter, now studying in Montreal, FaceTimed for advice. Mom, how do you make joy? Linda grinned. Same way you eat an elephant, kiddo. One bite at a time. That leather notebook. Still her co-conspirator, but its magic had multiplied, inked circles now cradled others' breakthroughs. Linda's empty nest hadn't filled, it had become a launch pad. Grab your pen, your story's next chapter starts today.